donate the money. It should be implemented like this, as far as I am concerned. And I am seeing
जी
that
जी नरेश भैया,
in
नाइस
private. जी,
जी, थैंक यू.
thank
Let's
you,
have
sir.
other people sharing also. Pratibha Didi, namaste. You
Okay,
have getting
thank
a message joining as a panelist. Kindly accept. Yeah, Charu Mitra ji, Jyoti Chawla ji, namaste ji. Charu Mitra ji, namaste. Welcome. Would you like to share your
Everyone.
experience?
Yes.
Namaste.
After UHV2, this is my first conference that I'm attending for UHV. What I would like to share is, it has been an incremental learning for me. And, I believe that there is still a long way to go before, I can, probably holistically contribute in making a dent towards UHV learning and sharing. But, it has helped me grow personally and, introspect and, understand what is, keeping me away or pushing me towards understanding and assimilating the learnings of universal human values. And I believe in due time, as I continue participating in all these FDPs and conferences, I will probably be able to contribute even more and spread what I'm learning right now. All I'm able to do is spread this learning, share all these thoughts, what I have learned through my child, through the students that I teach. And eventually, I believe this learning will, keep on going, growing, and the vision that all of us are, seeing, will be able to realize all that. All, with the efforts that the conference people, the volunteers, the organizers are taking. Thank you so much for that.
Parikshit Bhaiya, Pavan Gupta ji is also there. He is asking for confirmation.
As I can see, his network is fluctuating. So we request sir to kindly check the network bandwidth there. Ji. We may start, Didi. Welcome.
Okay, thank you, Bhaiya. So I welcome you all.
Is also in the attendees. I'll request Suresh Maneji to take up the shift, Didi. Some of our panelists somehow joined as attendees.
Yes.
So probably we'll take a minute to shift them.
Sure.
I can't understand why they are not there backstage.
They are in, I think. Suresh sir, good morning. Namaste. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Rashmi ma'am is also there. Welcome, ma'am. Namaste. Pratibha ji is also there. Namaste, Pratibha ji.
Namaste, Didi.
And I think Pavan Gupta sir is also there. So let's start. I welcome you all this in this third day of the 9th International Conference on Human Values in Higher Education. We are here to discuss about the Sustainable Development Goals, and from the last 2 days, we are discussing the needs and the vision of the Sustainable Development Goals. So let's take a brief from the last 2 days. We have discussed about the UHV perspectives that correlates the SDGs with the comprehensive human goals. For the priorities of the SDGs and need to address SDGs at root, panelists prioritize climate action, no poverty, zero hunger, good education, gender equality, and responsible consumption. And no doubt, all SDGs, all 70s SDGs are interconnected. The point came. All forms of energy is not available in all the countries. So local to global idea is very needed in the present system. Role of education and capacity building in creating sustainable vision to achieve the SDG was addressed by the holistic vision of the education. Emphasis was also given to unincorporated sector in India to achieve the unified vision of the Sustainable Development Goals. The Indian idea of Vasudev Kutumbakam, that is family to world family, and Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, that is the well-being of all, is also mentioned to achieve all these goals at our priority. On the role of technology, focus was given that technology should help the human, not to replace the human. So this is what all brief we have discussed in last 2 days. Today we are here to discuss the implementation of SDGs. So for further discussion on this implementation, I would like to invite Dr. Supraja ji. Supraja ji is AICT Vishwasaraya Best Teacher Awardees in 2021. She is PhD from Anna University, Indo-US Westman Fellow of USC Los Angeles. She has postdoctoral research associate UK and 12 years of experience in teaching and research. Currently, she is understanding and exploring UHV University Coordinator as SRM Institute of Science and Technology. She has also completed UHV Introductory, UHV 2, UHV 3, and attending morning sessions continuously from 2 batches, 6 batch and 9 batch. So now she is focusing on the personal development and finding out the scope of social development and the team development. So I welcome Dr. Supraja ji to take the session. Please, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Jyoti. Hope I am audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Jyoti. So, namaste to all. I welcome you all for our panel discussion addressing SDG from the root. In today's discussion, we will focus more on implementation. So, past 2 days, we were been discussing on addressing this SDGs and how to fulfill this SDGs. What is the need we were discussing, and also we were discussing on the vision of this SDG. So today we will carry forward our discussion in the direction of implementation to fulfill this SDG goal. So before we start the panel discussion, I would like to set the stage to brief the outlining of implementing this holistic approach of this SDG and how this is all interconnected. So this holistic approach emphasizes the importance of understanding these goals. It is not isolated, but as a part of the larger system. So that is what we are discussing for past 2 days. By recognizing these interdependencies among these SDGs, we can create more effective strategy to address this SDG from the root rather than just working on the symptoms.
Here, madam.
So for this, we proceed to listen from Dr. Gopal Babu, the UHV point of view of this SDG implementation. Dr. Gopal Babu, over to you.
Thank you, Supraja ji. Let me share my screen. Namaste. Is it visible, Supraja ji?
Perfectly visible, Bhaiya. Please proceed.
Okay. So, namaste, everyone. And I can see some faces very regularly in this discussion. So today I'm going to present UHP perspective on implementation for achieving SDGs at the root level. So starting from day one, we talked about holistic worldview, and we discussed that holistic worldview is important for each one of us to live sustainably. Right. And we also discussed on day one that we cannot achieve SDGs in the paradigm of only economic perspective, only materialistic perspective. So there is a need to understand human being as a coexistence of consciousness unit and material unit. There is a need to understand happiness as a understanding of harmony at all levels of living. We need to understand prosperity as a feeling of having more than required physical facility. So this we all discussed on day 1. And we also discussed that with right understanding, we can ensure ability to recognize relationships in students. So once people are able to recognize relationship, then it may lead to social justice. And this justice from family to world family order can ensure undivided society. And that is what is intention of SDGs. With this, we discussed vision for addressing SDGs at the root level. So we discussed the vision for humane society. So right understanding in every individual, health in every individual, prosperity in every family, fearlessness in society, and mutual enrichment with natural environment. With this vision, SDGs will be fulfilled naturally. So SDGs will be followed if we work towards this humane society. So to achieve humane society, to realize humane society, we discussed these 5 goals. With this background, now I am putting proposal of implementation. So to achieve these goals of humane society, we need to work on 8 dimension systems. So dimension of education, health, justice, production service, exchange distribution, right utilization, preservation, and dimensions of service. So these 8 dimension systems is proposed here to achieve a humane society. And once we are going towards humane society through this 8 dimension system, SDGs will be taken care of naturally. We don't need to make any extra effort. And if you see in this 8 dimension system, dimension of education is very important, because perspective can be ensured through this education system. So if our education system is holistic, if our education system is propagating coexistential view of this nature, if our education system is propagating holistic view about this universe, then it will impact all other dimensions. So if our education is holistic, then we will be able to ensure health in a holistic manner. We will be able to recognize relationship that will ensure justice in society. If our perspective is holistic, then we will be able to see, reevaluate our production system. Then we will be clear how much to produce, what to produce, when to produce, for whom to produce. We can identify our real need before indulging into production. With this holistic perspective, we can have exchange and distribution. So with holistic perspective, we can exchange whatever we have produced more than required to needy people of the society. With this holistic perspective, we can ensure right utilization of available resources. So if you see, the right utilization has become a prominent problem in our society. Most of the people are trying to accumulate, are indulged with these resources to get happy. But with holistic perspective, we can ensure right utilization of natural resources. So this all can be done through education system. Then dimension of preservation. So with holistic perspective, we will preserve the natural resources, we will preserve the food, grain, and we will distribute to those who are really needy of these resources. And with this holistic perspective, we can have administrative services and social services. So if you see the 8 dimension system, the dimension of education is very important. It impacts thought, it impacts perspective, it impacts lifestyle, it impacts goal of life in students. So it impacts every dimension of human living. That's why we started with the discussion of holistic worldview. So with this 8 dimension system, we can achieve these 5 humane goals to ensure a humane society. So basically, from UHP perspective, we are working to ensure a humane society with a humane system. Humane system is a system where everyone can live a fulfilling life, and this whole system will help people to live in a fulfilling manner. Now the next question is how to move toward this humanistic tradition, how to move toward this humane society. So as I described right now, the primary step to move towards this holistic way of life is to develop the right understanding of coexistence, understanding of interconnectedness, understanding of a global vision based on interconnectedness. This step can be ensured through right understanding among human beings and commitment to live accordingly, and then to develop the requisite skills and knowledge system to implement the right understanding in real life. So through education system, we can do it easily. As I discussed earlier also, each student devote or invest at least 15 to 20 years in this education system. And these 15 to 20 years are enough to ensure the right understanding among students. Therefore, it calls for a change in education system towards humanistic education. And this kind of understanding can provide us with the vision of such a humanistic education. So if we try to visualize a humanistic tradition, we can visualize this humanistic tradition in 4 aspects. Number 1, humanistic education, human conduct, human constitution, and universal human order. So if you see this slide, so we can start with human education. Education that ensures the development of competence to live with definite conduct. Definite conduct means the education that ensures the ability in students to live with definite feelings like feeling of trust, feeling of respect, feeling of affection, love, compassion. This kind of education we need to achieve humane society. With this kind of education, our conduct can be definite. We can live in a mutually fulfilling manner. With this kind of conduct, we can ensure a humane constitution that will be guiding each individual how to live fulfilling life. With this kind of human constitution, we can ensure human order, order where human goals are realized, where each one of us has opportunity to live in a mutually fulfilling manner. And as this cycle moves from one round to another round, the next round, we can ensure human tradition, a tradition where human constitution is available, where people will be living with human conduct, where next generation will be getting this kind of education, where they will be prepared to live in a sustainable manner. So such kind of human tradition can be visualized and can be ensured through right education. And in this manner, we can ensure human tradition for generation to generation. And to implement this, we need to relook at socio-economic structures. So to ensure this humane society, it is proposed that we need to have a decentralized social structure. If you see today, the present approach, structures are getting centralized. So power is centralized, distribution is centralized, everything is centralized. But if we want to live sustainably, if we want to live a fulfilling life, then we need to ensure a decentralized social structure. So relationship-based decentralized social structure. What is happening today? We have designed economic-centric social structure, centralized social structure. But to achieve SDGs, to achieve a sustainable lifestyle, I propose to ensure a relationship-based decentralized socio-economic structure. So in this structure, power will be decentralized, resources will be decentralized, decision will be decentralized, and each node, if you see GS1, GS2, GS3 in this structure at the bottom, GS1 means families living together, and they are coordinating with block level committee, and this block level committee will be coordinating with district level committee, and this district level committee will be coordinating with state level committee in similar manner to national level committee and international level committee. So all these things will be decentralized, and central committee will be enriching to decentralized structures. In this manner, we can ensure from bottom to top sustainable lifestyle, and from top to bottom sustainable lifestyle. So this kind of structure is required to live a sustainable lifestyle. And this kind of social structure with this 8-dimension system, we can achieve a humane society. And this humane society will take care of all SDGs naturally. So this is what UHB perspective on this implementation. So that's from my side. Ji. Supraja ji.
Yes, Bhaiya. Thank you so much.
Pratibha,
Thank
raise
so
the
much.
hand.
Pratibha ji, you have raised a hand. You
Yes,
wish to ask
yes.
any question to.
Uh,
Yeah, please
I,
go ahead.
I have heard so many times centralized and decentralized system. So, Bhaiya, my request is that can you explain this system with example? Okay, what is centralized system that is prevailing right now, and what will be the decentralized system that we are having in our vision? So, can you explain with examples so that my understanding will be improved? Yeah, please.
Yes. So if you see the structure of mega cities, urban cities, these structures are centralized structures, right? And if you see our traditional systems, like system of villages, they are decentralized, right? So what is happening with centralized structures? Suppose if we take the example of any city that we call as a mega city, they are heavy loaded with big malls, and people are migrating from rural areas to cities, and these mega structures are heavily dependent on non-renewable resources. So due to centralization, energy has become a problem, migration has become a problem, resources distribution has become a problem, and due to standard of living, the people who are shifting from rural areas to urban cities, they are forced to live as a labor. So these are the side effects of this centralized social structure. But if you see a tradition system, like for example, like Jajmani system, it sustained for thousands of years. So things were decentralized. So there was a village, group of families, there was a sarpanch, they discuss their issues, they sit together, they communicate with each other problems, strength of the requirement, needs, then they communicate to their block level representative. Then there is a meeting of block level representative, then block level representative put their recommendation to district level representative. District level representative now help to block level representative. This kind of structure will be a decentralized social structure, right?
Oh, very nice.
Bhaiya, very nice, Bhaiya. And now my understanding is clear. So whenever I used to visit the rural area, village area, I always find a sort of peace, and it is very disheartening that people still wanted to move into the city and they want to work like a labor. As far as for our concern, we are also migrated. We have come from our our place into this metropolitan city in search of work, or we are doing this. So we are, can I ask one more question? How this migration can be prevented, if you will allow me? Just
So, Raji, I would request to
yes. We have to
to
initiate.
allow
Pratibha ji?
other panelists to talk over this. We can have
Yeah.
personal discussion. Yes.
Pratibha ji, we will have this kind of connecting dots over the discussion in the panels as well. So now I would like to, is that fine, Pradipji?
Sure, Didi. Sure, sure. I know that I have taken much more time.
Thanks for understanding, Pratibhaji. So I would like to thank Gopal Babu for placing this elaborate viewpoint for entitling this holistic view of addressing this SDG at the level of implementation. Where very nicely you have presented the viewpoint how this human education has an ability to bring out the human potential, and by understanding we can able to live it with a mutual fulfilling manner. And as a policymakers, whom we have gathered, understanding this holistic view will help us to implement these 8 dimensions recommended by Gopalji. Thank you, Gopal Babu, for sharing this viewpoint with us. So before we moving ahead with the panel discussion, I would request Parikshit ji to launch the poll. Yeah. The poll is here. What is a fundamental challenge in implementing the sustainable development goals by 2030? Lack of right understanding, shortage of targets within these SDGs, insufficient funding and investment in the sustainable development, and limited public awareness of SDG. So all of you, all the panelists and attendees are requested to take up this poll. So let's wait for the result. Before that, so we have an esteemed panel with us today. So consisting of experts from the various fields who will be sharing your perspective on this implementation of SDGs and what are the potential benefits of this holistic approach. So now I would like to introduce the esteemed panel members one after the other. First, I will introduce Dr. Sudipta D. He is a guest researcher at Lund University, Sweden. Currently, is a professor at Mechanical Engineering Department, Jawahar University, and is nominated as a senior scientist in the Indian National Science Academy, New Delhi to Technical University to Munich. And he has been awarded Shikshatrana by Higher Education Department of Government of West Bengal. So glad to have you here, Sudip sir. Namaste. Next, I would like to have an introduction on Rashmi Gujarati ji. So Professor Rashmi is working as a director IQAC of PCTU groups of college. She is an international visiting professor of various universities across Asia, Europe, UK, and US, and she has 35 years of research in teaching, and she has participated in more than 200 international conferences. So welcome, Dr. Rashmi. And I would like to, I'm taking a pride to introduce our next panelist, Pratibha Singh. Pratibha Singh is an environmental scientist, and she's an expert in environmental impact assessment. And she is having over 16 years of experience in teaching research, and she has been awarded prestigious DST Young Scientist Award. And she's well committed to both environmental and sustainable impact. Welcome, Dr. Pratibha Singh. And we do have our another esteemed panelist with us today, Dr. Suresh Ji Maneji. He is a principal of D.Y. Patil, Parasistan College of Engineering, Kolhapur. And he has received the Outstanding Leader Award in Higher Education from ELETS and from Aryabhatta Award from ARAI, and Best Principal Award from London School of Digital Business. So glad to have you once again with us, Suresh Mane.
Thank you, madam.
And I would like to take a pride to introduce another panelist, Sri Pavan Kumar Gupta. He's a founder director and founder director for Society for Integrated Development of Himalayas, Mussoorie. Welcome, Pavan Gupta ji. And taking a pride to introduce our another panelist, Mr. Sunil Kumar Sood. He's a mechanical engineer and graduate from MACT Bhopal, and he has worked at Mecon private sector enterprises, and he has conducted more than 100 energy audit studies and deeply involved in the energy conservative activity, and he's promoting several ideas aligned to the sustainability, and it shows in his activity. So happy to have you here, sir. I thank all the panelists for joining with us today. We are so much awaiting to hear your insights and perspective. And before we go further, I would like to announce that we would like to hear from all of our panelists. So we all can have each 3 minutes for the discussion, one after the other. So once 3 minutes are up, a small piece of music will be an indicator for you to have that thing completed, so that all can have a discussion. All of us have an opportunity to have the discussion. So with this, I would request Parikshit Bhaiya to launch the result for the poll before we further proceeding to the discussion. So through this discussion, we could, at least 50% of us could able to see the fundamental challenge in implementing the sustainable development goal is lack of right understanding. That is the holistic view. Very nice. Thank you. So now I would like to invite Dr. Suresh Maneji. What do you think, what kind of community structure would be helpful to ensure sustainable communities and sustainable consumption with reference to SDG 11 and 12? What is your viewpoint over this, Suresh?
Madam, can you repeat this 11 and 12, what they stand for? Basically, consumption, I think, production and consumption.
Yes, sir.
And 11?
Responsible consumption.
Good morning, all. I'm really happy morning and Sunday morning, basically. I was hearing Gopal Babu Bhaiya actually. So this 8-step proposal, what they have proposed, basically, he was talking about this holistic education, health, justice, production, service, exchange, distribution, the right utilization, preservation, and dimension of service. I think they are very core for any person, individual, society, nation, or the entire globe to get into the mode of sustainable development. They have a lot of meaning in that, and subsequently further added that it should be more decentralized, like you have a Gram Parishad, Gram Sabha, then it goes to block, district, and all. This rapid urbanization in India has led to a lot of problems in urban areas, basically. This being from education sector, I feel I would definitely like to give importance to education. And rightly said, most of our students, India being a country of young people, today one of the largest population of people you find in India, that is our demographic dividend. We expect that proper education should be provided. And this entire like national education policy has been implemented successfully in India. But this universal human values, holistic education, this component, I think is a huge responsibility on the part of all of us to frame a proper curriculum and syllabus, so that right from nursery onwards, we appreciate, understand and appreciate sustainability, because it is sustainability, as I understand, has got 3 pillars. One is economic, second is the social, and third is the environment. The past many years, Government of India, because of Supreme Court intervention, they have introduced environmental science as a subject for all undergraduate programs. But it has not taken up well, because people study for the sake of studying and qualifying an exam, but they are not really appreciating and understanding the concepts. So this approach of this team of volunteers from this human UHV in India, they have taken a good step, and AICT, UGC, I think they are recognizing that. I feel that there should be there are literature and material available, but it is in a very nascent stage. It has to percolate down, and people should understand right from schooling. We should make understand that we should live with the right values, basically. Right understanding, right value system should be inculcated in the children only, so that we can continue to grow and grow in a sustainable manner, so that not only we enjoy the benefits, but the generations to come also have the share of their resources, and they also lead a quality and fulfilling life. This is from my end.
It's so glad to hear your sincere thought on this perspective, Dr. Suresh ji. You have mentioned this rapid urbanization is happening, and holistic education plays an important role. How the localization things can bring so important. So very valid point. And right value system should be integrated to understand the sustainability will help us to work on generation after generation to bring in. So a very valid point, Dr. Suresh. So now let us also hear from the, get the elaborate viewpoint from other panelists. Pratibha Singh, what do you think? What do you think? What kind of community structure would be helpful for the ensuring the sustainable communities and sustainable consumption? Over to you for your viewpoint, Pratibha.
In my opinion, ma'am, committee structure should be designed in such a manner that it should have a different stages, and their understanding must be based on coexistence. And this committee structure should be made. It should be designed like Priya told. It should be in a traditional way, where like the people should understand each other, and they should try to help each other instead of feeling jealous with each other, instead of doing harm to each other. This should not be happening. They should have a feeling of coexistence. They should understand this, and this community structure can only be developed when we inculcate the feeling of this universal human value since from the beginning, and since from the starting from the child education. As far as my concern, when I was in education, the only the thing that I learned from my teachers and from my parents and from my society, you have to study hard, because you have to earn more and more. You have to accumulate more and more to lead a good life. Nobody told me that you have to you have to study to inculcate the feeling of happiness and prosperity. Even I wasn't knowing that what is the meaning of happiness and prosperity. That I only knew when I have done the workshop of human values. So every committee member should know the values, and the importance of these values. So that is from my point of view. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pratibha, for your perspective. You have nicely elaborated that right understanding is important, where we are now operating with a feeling of jealousy and ego, and something what you said make a lot of sense, like accumulating more and more. We are working towards this greed-based society, whereas without this right understanding, we cannot able to understand our own needs. So very nicely we have elaborated your point. So let us also hear from other panelists. So before I go to the other panelists, I would like to invite Murari Lolgar ji. Namaste, welcome to our panel. So Murari Lolgar is a Vice Chancellor of C.V. Raman University, Patna. He has joined Anand Agri University, Gujarat as a professor, and he has got a volunteer retirement from ICAR, and he executed more than 30 impact fund rural IT and renewable energy. Welcome, Dr. Murari Lal.
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're perfect.
Yeah, audible. Again, I'm
Yes, sir.
refining my CV. Last panel also I requested. Actually, I am a person who is a very young kind of vice chancellor, only 9 months old. You can see a child is 9 months old. I had devoted my 40 years service in the public. CRY, cry. Or second word is die. DIY. Whether you want to cry or you want to die, the cry is that don't cry, conceive new things, create new vision, connect the pupil, conduct the vision, and complete the vision. This is the SDG. Don't make cry. What is happening is a learning. Every success has failure as an attachment. So instead of cry, you have to connect and come out with some new things which are from the society. And now comes the die, DIY. You must apply a approach of die. DIY means do it yourself. Do it yourself. Don't depend upon the government, funding agency, SDG, world or country, state, nation, whatever. Do it yourself. What is your contribution in SDG? Ask from inner side. Ask from inner side. So DIE, do it yourself as a vice chancellor, as a HOD, as a professor, as a person, as a farmer, as a child, as a head of the family. What you are doing towards SDGs? These are the things which can make the harmonical kind of attains from the SDG, because SDGs are not goal. Please remove this understanding. They are not goal. They are the future. They are the future of this globe, future of this village, future of the next generation. They are not goal of particular years. Start from 15 and that. So these are the future. And for having a good future, you must create a harmony. Unless there is no harmony, there is no future. So in SDG concept, we have to integrate the things. We have to see from the nexus approach. Whatever elements of SDGs are there, they are not compartmental. Maybe it is water, energy, food, society, forest, whatever it is, they all are connected. All are connected. If you regulate one, other will get disturbed. So you have your approach in a way where the final aim is to please the society. Who's the end product? Society. They want something else, forget everything. It is for their betterment. Society lies at the grassroots, at the rural scale or whatever is the at farthest end. So what you could provide to that end fellow farmer who is struggling with the life since last decades, but still working. So you have to connect your vision and your orientation towards that end product. So you have to be not compartmental, have a nexus approach, because water, energy and food. Without 1 drop of the water, you cannot create 1 gram of the food. Without 1 gram of the food, you cannot create 1 calorie of energy. And without 1 calorie of energy, you cannot create 1 liter of water. So this kind of thinking is required in society. And because we think the SDG means some fund is there, some funding will be there, some society will. No, nobody will help you. Help yourself. Teach your children since day one that the next generation is going to face these problems. You have to be very sentimental, you have to be very critical and very, very critical for the problems that we are facing. And answer lies in the society itself. Go to nature, sit behind the tree, it will answer you everything. But it should be done. So this is my view towards the SDG.
Very nice. Very nice. So it's interesting to listen that cry and die concept and do it yourself. Very nicely you have explained. Ask every individual to be responsible and participate. So this is what we are also trying to discuss in the UHP perspective. Every individual should take the responsibility on it. And because we are always expecting the other person to initiate it, other person to do it, it should start within. So that point you have nicely brought in, and you also added a point what other panelists have said, that every SDGs is interconnected with each other. So that has to be understood. Thank you, Murariji. It was a nice viewpoint hearing from you. So let us hear from another panelist, Dr. Rashmi. What do you think? What key action should be prioritized to ensure the effective implementation of SDG at the root level in communities? You have to unmute your mic, Dr. Rashmi.
Yeah. Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, perfectly.
Yeah. And it's a very nice message has been given by the Dr. Murari, that cry and die, right? This is the big message for the society. As yesterday also we have discussed that everybody was saying that we have to do this, we have to do this. Now the point is that individually, what we have to do, that has been explained by the Dr. Murari. So to implement the SDG, we all are talking since 2015-16, but in 2019 when after COVID, we all were involved and we were spreading the awareness to our students in our society by the webinar, by the conferences, seminar, and our AICT education sector has also implemented this. Even now in the NAC also sustainable development has been implemented, and they are going to be give to the task to our colleges that our new generation can understand what is the sustainability. So there are to implement, we have to implement from every sectors, like government role should be there, business role should be there, civil society role should be there, individual role should be there. So we have to take the action from all sides, then it can be worked properly. Government is supporting, they are giving a lot of policies, they are giving lot of target projects with the economic benefits also. And with that, if we go in the business role, then also there must be a sustainable practices in our education sector, because we all are from the education department. So we are giving the education to our students, and every time we say that our future is with our students. So it's our duty. Do it yourself means that our first step will be show to our students how to work on that, how to implement on that. Yesterday also we have talked about the Swachh Bharat, that we say Swachh Bharat. But what we do, that is very important. Same thing in every sector, every area. If we go in the climate action, if we go in the community or the city sector, if we go good health and well-being. So these all goals are there. True that these are not the goal. They are the important things that we have to understand and we have to implement ourselves and to teach to our students. So from my part, these efforts should be done from the individually, then it can be implemented. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rashmi. You again reiterating the point placed by Murariji that we are discussing this SDG since very long time, and a lot of efforts has been made, but still we couldn't able to reach the expected. But to achieve this, all of us to join together and individual efforts needs to be taken. Very nicely placed your viewpoint. Now, let us have the elaborate view on the same discussion. So I would like to hear from Sudipta. Sudipta ji, over to you for your viewpoint.
So it's nice to listen to everybody. Very good morning. So I think that the vision and strategy should be different. Vision can have a long-term target. Strategy should be right at this moment what is to be done. So with respect to that, I should go to the origin of the concept of the sustainable development. In my perception, it has started the concept of spirituality out of prosperity, because those countries who were known to be economically at a, I mean, very high state, they started thinking, is this economic development really development? Then the concept of sustainable development initiated. So the question is, when it comes to a country like ours, the global goal, it's a global challenge. Climate change, sustainable development, these are all global challenge. But the global challenge, when it comes to the context of a particular country, it has to be fit into the country's constraints. Otherwise, we say, when I get INSA funding for teaching at the school or college level, and I always go for the school, because it has to be started, any change has to be started with fresh young minds, rather than trying to educate the old people like us. Honestly speaking, the teachers can give a lot of sermons on or rather advice to the students, but no teacher can appear in all the subjects the students can do. That should be a practice of sustainable development also. So in my perception, if we have to make something good for the future, we have to think about, say, to attain, it's a concept of God. Sustainable development overall, it can be, we can wish to have the God, but we never be able to. We'll try to go as close as possible to that through our best practices. Now the question is, the different people have different perception. We all agree that we wish to achieve the God, but different people have different perception. Somebody thinks that worshipping is the option. Somebody thinks giving proper support to the poor people or weak people is the way of achieving God. So let them have their own perception. But government cannot just leave it to the own perceptions of everybody with respect to a sustainable development. So with respect to country, there must be multi-level governance, which is very important. That means at central level, there will be certain strategy. At state level, there will be certain strategy. Even at lower level of district or panchayat level, there must be specific strategy. And those strategies are not orienting towards overall sustainable development, everything to be achieved. There must be very specific priority, which one should be the first one to achieve, and to see any effect should not have any side effect on the other sustainable development goals. Because that's the challenging thing. As I work in the area of sustainable energy, the doctors say, if any medicine doesn't have any side effect, it doesn't have any effect also. Just exactly, the engineers can never get the best. I'm being an engineer, I can tell you, we can only get the optimum. So getting optimum solutions with respect to local need is the major challenge. And from that perspective, I feel that based on the three basic pillars, environmental, social, and economic, we have the greatest challenge with respect to the social perception change, because the other two can be assessed numerically. So with this, I can switch over. In next phase, I can add up some more if the opportunity is there. Thank you.
Very nice, nicely placed, Siddharth. It makes really sense. Like, vision is for the long term. All of us has a common vision for the goal, and the strategies right now what to be implemented. So, as you mentioned, that many nations have started thinking about, is this an economical development, is a real development? That question, every one of us is having that question. And economically, we are developing day one day, but then it is the real development. So we have couldn't able to see the interconnectedness amongst us. So that is where, and you also add on the point that this education should go from the level of the school. Let's hear from Mr. Sunil Sood. Sunil Sood, would you like to place your perception in this discussion?
Good morning, namaste to all fellow panelists. I joined late, actually, I joined some other room. So when I joined, that time Dr. Gopal was showing one slide about the structure, district level, state level, and national level type something. I think that's a good one. But I would like to suggest that we are talking about action. So first of all, we should do it in two parts. One is sensitization, where maximum number of people as quickly as possible must be sensitized. And out of that second part, action means where those you identify out of those sensitization sessions, say out of 100, hardly 5 or 6, maximum 5 people will take interest further. So if then out of 100 who show interest, they should be given proper training and responsibility for action. So if we can divide like this, then it will move very fast. Now, what we are expecting that if 500 are hearing, all will be sensitized. Not possible. So first of all, we have to sensitize them, then train them for action, and then develop new leaders. Our job should be to create more leaders. And then also involvement of RWs, I will suggest, resident welfare associations, and motivational speakers, maybe even religious leaders, because these are the people who can be involved at least for sensitization. So if we want to move it very fast, I think we should not confine it only in academic forums. We should take it forward to all forums, especially those who are in a position to influence, influencers, social media influencer and all that. If we can somehow sensitize them and request them to speak at least for 1 minute about this and what the gist of it, then they may create many people who will be interested to take action. Now, Dr. Murali was telling that DIY, I have been doing, but it is not possible, because alone you are actually you will end up, making people like me frustrated. It is not a job of one individual. It has to actually come. It has to have some proper organizational structure right from the top, and then only it can flow downwards. You should not rather put any individual in so much trouble, because I have seen many good intentioned activists in trouble financially, because they end up doing so much work free. I have been also doing, all of my savings are exhausted. So we end up then putting all good intentioned people in trouble financially. So sustainability is all about 5 dimensions. So, environmental sustainability, social sustainability, economic sustainability, and also includes peace and partnership. If without partnership, if there is no partnership, there is no team, you should not put an individual in such a situation. I will not advise that. It has to be a proper teamwork and a properly recognized, organized one. Not that you just have in a piecemeal manner. Yesterday you were talking about the things are happening in isolation and piecemeal manners. Then at the same time, we cannot say that we should leave it to the individuals. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, Sunilji, you have placed the importance of sensitization. That is
Yes.
more important and action. So we need to create more leaders, and so that's where we can reach it to all the people over the planet, and more influencer. The people who have a common interest over this should come forward and start influencing the people. So the structure need to be to go from the top to downward approach is what the point you have placed. So let us hear from Dr. Gopal Babu. Would you like to add a point over this discussion, Dr. Gopal?
Yes, so very nice discussion is going on, and in fact, if you see the whole nature, a tree, river, mountain, all are running in a self-sustainable manner. A sun, earth, the whole universe. Only human has this question. Only living of human being is in the question. Rest of nature is running in a self-sustainable manner. So if my perspective is what should be prioritized. So as Dipta ji said, Suresh ji said, Rasmi ji said, so we 3 domain we can work. Number 1 is education, because millions of students are coming from these educations every year. So we can equip them with a holistic worldview of interconnectedness. This is one part. We can create an environment in school where they can practice sustainable lifestyle. So if you see our education system, now our education system is giving exam, getting marks, and all is over. And finally they get degree or mark sheet. we can include such parameters in their mark sheet. For example, how long you have resources that is available to you, how long you have taken care of the water available to you, what strategy you have made for your school. These practical approaches should be included in our curriculum, and they should be evaluated practically whether they have done something for sustainable development or not, and it should be reflected in mark sheet. It is very interesting. My daughter is studying in class 6. So once her teacher said, you have to make a painting or you have to write a quote, save the trees. Now to write this one quote, save the trees, she purchased one drawing sheet, she purchased colors, then she typed in computer, she take printout of this and pasted on the wall. This is unsustainable manner. To write one tree, we are investing drawing sheet, we are investing colors. So we are writing one code to save the tree in unsustainable manner. So similarly, you can see the kind of practices that are being adopted by schools, they are unsustainable itself.
Yes.
If you pile up all the books, notebooks of one child from class 1 to 10, my approximation is at least 10 trees are invested to provide them notebooks and this, and he has not planted a single tree in his life. So this kind of practices should be included in our education system with worldview, so that when this student will come to a higher postage, they will be a natural agent of sustainability. So this is one part. Second part, I can say we should promote local governance. We should promote local ideas to local people. So for example, I was studying this Anna Hazare's village, Ralegan City. So he with his local people created a very good implementation in his village. The idea was he started a concept of grain bank, where people submit their grains, deposit their grains, and in case of there is no rain, this kind of situation, people can take grain from the bank, and when there is enough crops, they can deposit their grain with interest. So this local concept of grain bank ensures that everyone has resources available to them. So these kind of ideas should be promoted with local resources, with local people. So thank you very much. I will add more points if I get the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Gopalji. You have placed that other orders are in place, only human needs to work out. And that's very interesting to know, like how long this resource has been utilized. So if every one of us started asking this question to ourselves, just now I was thinking how many paper I have wasted for preparing this panel discussion. So more in unsustainable manner while I'm talking about the sustainability.
As you are saying, if you see this whole NBA process, lot of paper are wasted in this process for one visit.
True. Very true. That is what I'm supposed to say. In the sustainability cell, we had 3 files of list of research paper we published on sustainability, printed copy. So very nice. And you have even shared the experience with your daughter and how we can able to understand in the sustainable. We are talking about the sustainability, but it's not reflecting in our actions or even in our education system. So we need to practice to include this in our education system in a practical manner. It's well taken. The point is well taken. So let's hear from Suresh Maneji. Since Gopalji has mentioned about promotion of local governance, because he has even given a point on this grain bank. What do you think, Suresh Maneji? What role do the local governance, government and the grassroots organization plays in ensuring this SDGs to implement it more effective manner?
Yeah, very good and pertinent question, madam. This India is a land of villages, basically. Originally, we were all villagers only. Over a period of time, when the industrialization took place and these factories, so-called factories came up, based on the industry 1.0, 2.0. Now we are at industry 5.0. So these like cities like Bangalore, Mumbai and all, lot of industries came up. And for better prospects, people started migrating from villages because there was not reliable source of income in villages. So people went and migrated to cities. But if you look at the learned speakers who are speaking now, see, on this planet Earth, everything is sustainable except human. So this is a very big thought. Even yesterday I was in park. I was just looking at dogs. See, they are also living a good life. And here is a man who is worried about himself. He is unnecessarily worried about himself. And with all the education at his disposal, he is not able to think beyond his immediate family. So this is very ridiculous what I felt. So this India, we have a very good system of gram panchayats, villages, and it is doing well. I am not saying, but somewhere I think everybody will appreciate that catalyst is required so that we can make them more potent and powerful. India, I think, has got around 6 lakh plus villages. And these kind of initiatives, if we like our present government is doing a lot toward the sustainability and all. So if they are properly educated, like now I think in all villages we have got that television set, internet connectivity and all. A lot of digitalization of land records and all have happened. So this decentralization of things, if they happen, this migration towards cities will actually reduce. And I rather feel after this COVID, when people understood that it is better to stay in your farmhouses and villages, I've seen many houses coming up, farm bungalows coming up in farmlands basically. So I feel that we as a nation should work towards empowering our villages, decentralization, and bring up some sources of revenue, small industries there, so that holistically people can live instead of migrating to just to cities. And we have a false notion, what I have seen, in most of Indians, we carry a false notion stating that if my children are working in some metro or even in abroad, then we have a notion that they're doing well. I think this per se is a false notion. I am talking about general public. If you look at the majority of Indians, if our children go abroad and even our relatives abroad, so we are having a notion that they are doing well, or people who are staying in cities are doing well and they are making money. So I think that notion also has to be challenged, and we should look more towards a sustainable village only, so that these goals can be accomplished. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, Suresh. Sir, you are supporting this local governance and this land of villagers to the industrialization is mainly due to their livelihood. So it is you have made a sense that we can enhance the livelihood in the Gramin. Yes. So thank you, Dr. Suresh, and let's hear from Rashmi. Rashmi, what is your viewpoint in this discussion? What role that local government and grassroots organization can be and help to implementing these SDGs?
Thank you very much. And as we were discussing the implementation and all are giving the points, and same when we talk about the work that how to be implemented, then we see that government role is a very important to be focusing on the environment regulation, on the social welfare for the progress, and there must be allocate resources with the investment and in the sustainable infrastructure projects also. We see there are a lot of research and development in the education also, as we have discussed that we are doing a lot of research on that and publishing the papers in that. With that, we should be have a international collaboration with the other countries to understand that what the global challenges they are facing and how to take action on the climate changes, poverty, inequality. And with that, when we are doing the research, we are getting a lot of data and monitoring that what work has been implemented and what we require to do more. By these practices can be bring us on the actual track for the progress. Because once we understand that where we are lacking, that is very important. We all are talking, discussing related with the sustainable. But point is that how to start, where we are lacking, from where we have to cover this point so we can achieve our target. Because in 17 goals, there is a 169 target. And if we go in each and every target, so we can understand. And with me, we have a lot of international professors. We are focusing on this and we are working on that, on the sustainable development goals. So the each goals are very important. And with that, this all should be implemented. With that, there is also a role of the society where we are living. So this is the very important for the society people also to understand in the civil area. So community engagement, monitoring and accountability, this is very important. If every person understand that this is my responsibility, I have to focus on this, then it can be implemented. And specific what we can do, this is to be understand, because we talk all, we discuss, but what will be happen very well, we all know that after finishing this program, we all will be busy in our other work, and we have talked a lot, but the specific actions are very important, which we have to understand that what should be the climate action, what should be the sustainable cities and communities action, what are the responsibilities for reducing the inequality to giving the same platform for the gender equality and for health and well-being. This is very important. When we talk about the happiness, harmony, prosperity, so these all things come with all. So this is very important to understand that from where we are getting the happiness, and we have all of this is a right understanding. If there is because we talk happiness, we talk right understanding, but we are not ready to forgive anybody. If somebody else did something, we are not ready to forgive them. Oh, why he did or she did like this, and we are wasting our time in that. So first we need to understand that how to forgive to other and to focus the work and to work in the team. That is very important. Thank you.
Thank you, Rashmi. You have nicely put forward. Most of us are discussing in words, but it is not reflecting in our understanding or in the actions. So that is really one thing. It is hitting very hard. And the government role is very important for regularizing this, to allocate the resource as well as the revenue. And one thing what you mentioned is what to do is everybody wants to have this society better, environmental better, but then the direction is not clear. So that is all collectively we are trying to research and understood. We are in that process, and now we are all discussing about such kind of efforts and measures to be taken. And before we move on to the other panel, there is one hand raised in the participant, Dr. Lata Nair. Didi, you have any question to any of the panelists?
Am I audible?
Yes, Lataji, you are audible.
I don't know. I was just supporting Gopal Bhaiya about this barter system. So at least, so we should actually, we have to go back to that barter system. Instead of currency dependency, we have to reduce our dependency on currency. We should start working on, we should research on this topic. So how we can stop currency, and we should research on at least some villages should be formed where we don't depend on currency, and we have to research on that. So that is very important. Thank you.
Nice,
Thank you,
nice.
sir.
Well placed. Thank you, Lataji. So again, let's due to the time constraint, let's have a review from our panelist, Dr. Pradeepa Singh. What is your review over this discussion?
Ma'am, in my opinion, more and more self-help groups should be created at a local level, I mean to say village or rural area. And government has already taken initiative, and I am in a project with the JICA. They are implementing the livelihood management by creating self-help group, and the ladies are preparing beautiful bags. They are involved in mushroom culture. They are involved in pattal making. They are involved in aloe vera cultivation with the help of forest group, their panchayat group, and their government initiative. So this is a very good practice that I have observed in Himachal region as well as Uttarakhand region, and this practice should be adopted in each and every village so that migration can be prevented. And as I am working as a consultant, I am dealing with the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, and they are in that organization. Most of them are retired forest officers. And whenever we have to give a presentation for getting environmental clearance, and lot of paper we are wasting on EIA report that is of 500 pages, and their documents and their presentation copy, and we have to circulate each and every copy to each and every member. So I want to give the scenario as an environmentalist, as the person who are experienced. They used to force us for wasting of these kind of things. So this should be taken care. So that is my point of view. Thank you.
Thank you, Pradeepa ji. You are also supporting to this local governance and local people to be educate more about this environmental things and to be empowered for the effective implementation. The point is very well taken. So let's get the point of view from Murari ji. You can put forward your viewpoint in this.
I guess I'm audible. First
Yes,
of all,
yes,
I
perfect.
would like to say one thing. Yes, you cannot detach individual efforts. It must be there. I totally contradict the version of earlier speaker. Number two, you understand on the globe, what are the elements? Number one, plants. Number two, humans. Number three, animals. These are the three bigger elements for which we are talking SDGs. So what is the statistics of plant, human being, animal, and those natural resources? Still we are not clear. So data is not there. We have to be concentrated on data-based analysis of the situation. Now, third thing is that what is the relationship? Plants, animal, human beings, they have very close relationship. If you cut one tree, you will die one animal. If you die, one animal is died, plants are also died. So there is a very complex continuous relationship between plants, animals, and human beings. Now come to India. India is only 328 million hectare land, very small part, hardly 1% of the. But we are the land, we have highest number of human beings, 140 across the China. We are the country where we have the highest number of animals in the world, 70 crores. Highest number of animals exist on India, highest number of humans exist on India, and we are the, with God grace, the only land piece where highest number of vegetation is there. Highest number of vegetations are there. So a nation that is very small in size have highest number of plant, highest number of animals, highest number of human beings, and we are the youngest nation. What else you want? You want only management. You are a poor manager, that's all. Resources are there. So management requires a poor measurement. Measurement requires data. So without proper management, you cannot manage. Just concentrate on SDGs, where we must have our sensors of information, connection, interconnectivity, and go for the, if you tune one, what happens to others. So this is my message from this. And lastly, I thanks the organizer, hats on. I have attended, hundreds of international conferences abroad and nation. But this is the way we are sustainability rights. We are discussing the points in an online mode, far better than a global conference, which involve lot of cost, lot of travel, lot of energy, lot of time. What is this? This is the way where we can exchange our wisdom and very sustainable way of exchange of income. I must give full marks to the organizer. People are sitting like me in the night. We are sitting 3 a.m. because the quality of discussion is there, and this is the way we have to move ahead. This is the best example of sustainable knowledge transfer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Murariji. You have nicely brought up the point that what is relationship that interconnected need to be understood. What is the relationship between a trees and the animal and the human? That interconnectedness is not clear is creating a lot of problem. It is so India, as you mentioned, a country like India has a lot of resources with us, but the sense of information about this interconnectivity is not reaching to the people. So addressing this individual is not getting clear.
Only one line example. When there is a cow, it goes in the forest, it will graze some grass, return back. With this grass, that cow creates milk. We get that milk and our economy is there. We are the highest milk production in the world. But what happens if that cow grazes in a different way? The soil will get detached, erosion is there, productivity is down, soil health is going down. So we have to connect the soil, water, animal, plant. In that way, we can have a sustainable solution. This is a small example. I have thousands of examples. Time is not there. But thank you.
Thank you so much. So let's quickly hear from Sudatta. Over to you for your viewpoint.
Yeah. So I'll make it very short. The idea is basically feeling sustainability or perception of sustainability is like feeling an elephant by blind people. I'm also one of that blind person. We all look that the elephant looks like something where I touch. If I touch at the trunk, I feel that's a cylindrical thing, or that's something else like that. But at the governance level or action level, we have to see it from the bird's eye view. And there you must, one of my friends, international collaborator, has told it very nice way. Any complex problem, try to cut the elephant into pieces, not physically, mentally. Unless who will decide the policy, they have to cut the entire elephant in the mind into different pieces, and the actions must be given to the people who is suitable. We are from the education field. We have certain actions. There are different people at different governance level who should have a definite guideline. Why? Because otherwise, everybody has got their own perception of doing something good, sustainable. That's good. That's a good approach. But that may have some negative sustainability effect in other way. So at the global level, what is the objective to fulfill? The action plan should be there. In fact, the similar thing has happened for the climate action. Because the climate action, the IPCC is providing the data for what is going to happen. Then the country has to be left to decide of their own under the United Nations for their individual actions. Here also in sustainable development concept, again, I'm repeatedly telling that this perception is there. Everybody accepts it's a good perception, but how to do it, nobody knows this perfectly. So rather than criticizing, we have to decide that particular level of actions. People will do it out of the given SOP, standard operating procedure of different sectors. They will try to follow according to the national plan. Thank you.
Very nice. You have rightly pointed, placed your viewpoint that action needs to be taken, and like education people, everybody has to join hands, but it should be in a more structural way, not just with their own perception. Collectively, that should make a more structural perspective for reaching. Very nicely placed with your viewpoint, Dr. Sudatta. So let's hear the viewpoint from Sunil Kumar Sood. So over to you for your viewpoint in this discussion.
If we start with the basics, I think unless we change the criteria of GDP based growth to a more holistic or some inclusive criteria, nothing much may happen, because we are so much obsessed with the only economic growth. Now they are talking of 5 trillion economy and this and that. So during this last years, when India was the host for this G20 summits, there was a lot of discussion at international level also that what can be the alternative to GDP criteria. I think that is also one important point to be considered. And if we can collectively come out with a suggestion, practical suggestion, not like Bhutan only that gross happiness index and all that. It has to be inclusive of all the 5 P's, including environmental sustainability, social sustainability, economic sustainability, and including peace and partnership, all 5 P's. If we can come out with that, probably our job will be much easier. That's all. Thank you.
Very nice, Sunil Ji. The GDP is considered as a growth in the development. And as you rightly mentioned, we are also obsessed with the economic growth, but we are not talking about the true meaning of happiness. So this need to be addressed. And that is what we are trying to discuss.
I forgot to, can I add one more point?
Yes,
Actually,
yes,
we had done a lot of work in 2022. We had come out with 3 documents on Mission Sustainable India, whereby we had given some basics. What we are saying that if we are saying that sustainability has 5 dimensions, then should not all the dimensions be equal size, given equal importance, given equal budget, given equal attention? Based on that, we had designed a model of governance, bureaucracy, judiciary, all activity wise. That Mission Sustainable India document I can share. Probably that can help in proceeding towards that GDP idea.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So due to the time constraint, we are taking home message from all your conversation. Very nice to get all your viewpoints. So with all your inputs, I hope we have gathered a very meaningful points and the discussion opinions and towards the implement of this SDG. I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to all our panelists for your valuable contribution and meaningful engagement today. And I appreciate all your participation. So now I request Parikshit Bhaiya to launch a poll. And before I hand over the session to the anchor, there is a lot of hands raised, and let's hear from few of our attendees. Very short and brief. I invite Dr. Devi, Dean Trichul Royal College. Over to you, Dr. Devi. Dr. Devi, you would like to add up your viewpoint or any comments on this discussion?
Nice discussion, and I was able to get.
Your voice is very feeble, Dr. Devi.
Okay, am I audible now?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Yes, very nice discussion. So in whatever way we are thinking about a sustainable environment in future, so a very systematic idea we are getting how to guide ourselves and how to guide our students and how to guide our society and community in whatever way we have to proceed for a sustainable environment for our future generations. That is very clear idea we are getting. Thanks for such a nice discussion here. So everybody's point is very much valuable. The only thing that we have to evaluate it properly according to our UHV concepts, and we have to proceed. So thanks a lot.
Thank you, Dr. Devi. Due to the time constraint, there are a lot of messages or a lot of questions has been put up in the chat. We could see. So we will address or we will take consideration of all these questions, and we will in another forum, we would like to have the discussion on these questions. And is the poll launched?
Yes, it is launched, Devi.
Okay. Can we get the results for the poll, Jyoti ji?
But it is not for the host and panelist. That's the problem.
That's fine. Let's get the opinion from our attendees.
Parikshit Bhaiya, please launch the results.
Okay.
Yeah, there is the results.
Okay. Thank you, Jyoti ji. You can take over the session. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to moderate the session.
Thank you. Thank you, Supraja ji. So as I'm seeing that the poll result is there, the relationship centralized social structures got the 56% of the votes. So I think all of are able to view the importance of the relationship, and I thanks to each and everyone presented here. And I think there are some changes in the poll. Parikshit Bhaiya?
This is another poll, right?
Okay. Okay. So thanks to each and everyone. Dr. Suresh Maneji draws our attention to the rapid urbanization. Pratibha ji very clearly said the defined goals should be there, definitions of the happiness, coexistence, and prosperity should be clear to ourselves and our younger generations. Dr. Murari paid our attention towards do it yourself. I think Rashmi ji was also agreeing with the same thing. Okay, we have to be understand about the and who are doing the Swachh Bharat and each and everything. So Deepta sir mentioned the connected the spirituality with the spiritual sustainable development goals, while the Sunil Sood sir paid the attention to the 5 dimensions of the sustainability and the 5 T's mentioned in the mission sustainability. And the vision of the UHV given by the Gopal Babu sir is definitely education and local governance should be very clear. We would be very clear about the education, like we have all highly appreciated the example of trees and the copies we are using. So very good and enriching discussion in today's session. I thank you all the panelists and all the delegates, Lataji and Deviji, for their important questions, which already which have given the enriching sessions or a type of boost. So thank you each and everyone, and I invite you all in our next session from 12:30. It is a sharing session from the individuals and university, so we can see the right implementation in our lives and the institutions through these sessions. So you are welcome at 12:30 for sharing session. Thank you.
We can request all panelists and team members to switch on the video so that we can have a combined photograph of all. Humbly requesting all our team members to please switch on the videos for this combined photograph. Tara Bhaiya, Parikshit Bhaiya, can we help?
जी, नमस्ते सभी को.
We can have a photograph together.